Hello, scholars, and welcome to Peak Flicks Reading and Writing with Miss Holloman. Today is our second day together. I hope you're ready for an excellent day of teaching and learning. Let's get started. Our mentor text. Scholars, we are reading about dolphins. And yesterday we read about dolphins and we read the story from beginning to end, and we focused on using our background knowledge and making connections to help us understand the text. Scholars, today we are going to learn about captions and labels. And we are also going to specifically look for captions to help us understand the text even more. So, reading teaching point. I can use labels and captions to tell important information about the illustration in a nonfiction book. Today scholars, we will use labels and captions to tell important information about the book. Now, one of the things I want you to know, scholars, is that when we're reading a nonfiction book, there are features of a nonfiction book. And a feature can be a table of contents, and we learned about that yesterday. We used our table of contents. Also, a title, heading, photographs, and I'm just going to get my pen out here. So today we're learning about captions and labels. And they're very important because it gives us more details about the text. So now, before we have the table of contents here, I'm just getting my eraser. Just be patient with me. Thank you. Now we have the table of contents, and we know that that is a nonfiction feature. And when we have the table of contents, there's a title and it has a number next to it. And the title, for an example, fish or mammals, if we turn to page 6, that's what we're going to read about. So I'm going to ask you now to turn to page 6 because I want you to remember, scholars, we're not reading the whole text. We are specifically looking for captions and labels. Now, fish or mammals. Let's look at the captions. And we're right here together. And I'm going to read it. And you're reading it with me as I read it. Dolphins have lungs and breathe air. They get oxygen through a hole on the top of their heads. Their tails move up and down. They have soft, smooth skin. A dolphin's body temperature is always above 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's look at this caption up here. Water words. Oxygen, an invisible gas in air and water that animals, breathe in. Mammal, a warm-blooded animal that drinks milk from its mother and has a backbone and hair. Now I'm just going to move myself up a little. I'm getting better at this, scholars. Let's look at this caption here. Fish have scales, and so that's a label. It's showing us where the scale is. Fish have gills. Gills help fish get oxygen from the water. I'm right here. Their tails bend from side to side. A fish's body temperature matches the temperature of the water it's in. So do you see, scholars, how the labels and the caption gives us more detail? Table of contents. So now we're going to read a dolphin's life, and that is on page 8. So I'm going to just move myself in the middle. And now we're going to read the caption here. A baby dolphin has a small mouth. The calf smacks food against the water to break it into bits size bites. Here's the caption. Water words. Calf, a young dolphin. Now, scholars, I want you to pay attention to how the text is written. If you notice, it is bigger than the captions here. So the print is bigger. And if you look at the boldness of the word, so down here, it's a darker white. They label water words so we can be laser focused on what they're trying to tell us. They want us to know what a calf is, and a calf is a young dolphin. So I'm going to move myself up if I can. All right. So a label, a dolphin pod. Now right here, let's read this little caption. Every dolphin has its own name. Each name is a series of whistling sounds. Water words, predator, animals that eat other animals. So it's given us the definition, it's sharing what a predator is. It's given us more information. So I'm just going to move myself over. Under the sea. Under the sea is on page 14, so we should all be on page 14. Now, remember, are we reading the whole text? No. We are looking for captions and labels. Say it with me. Captions and labels. Excellent, scholars. So we are right here. Flippers help a dolphin start, stop, and turn. So right here, they are showing us with an arrow what we need to know about the flippers. The fin is on a dolphin's back, helps it stay balanced. So it is showing us right here where the fin is. Its powerful tail pushes it through the water. So it's showing us exactly where the tail is. So here in this caption, it and labels, it tells us about the flipper, it tells us about the fin, and it tells us about the powerful, powerful tail. And if we look closely at this caption, it has a blowhole, a blowhole. When a dolphin breathes out, air blasts out of its blowhole at 100 miles an hour. Wow. Table of contents. So we're going to read, let's see what we're going to read. Where dolphins live, and that is actually on page 18. So are we reading the whole text? No. What are we reading? Say it so I can hear you. You're right. Captions and labels. So let's go down here. The hourglass dolphin lives way out in the middle of the ocean. Let's read this. The Hector dolphin usually stay close to land. Water word, equator, an imaginary line halfway between the North and the South Pole. So do you see how the captions give us more detail, more information? So now we're reading about what's the difference. Are we reading the whole page? No, no, no. We are reading labels and captions. And I'm going to just move myself down so we can read it all. Okay? So let's look at this caption. Top fin usually shaped like a triangle. Porpoise, rounded snout. Teeth are rounded, and they show us a picture of the tooth. Dolphin, pointed snout. Top fin usually hooked or curved. Teeth are pointed. So it's actually doing a compare and contrast. So They're both dolphins, but there are different features about the dolphin. By reading the label and the captions, it gives us that detail. Okay. Now, a river dolphin, long, thin snout, poor eyesight, slow swimmer, rarely jumps. Ocean dolphin, fast swimmer, often jumps, has excellent eyesight, short snout. Again, by using the label and the captions, it gives us more detail. Table of contents. Now, what are we going to read about? Super dolphins, and that's on page 24. Super dolphins. So now let's look closely at this caption. A spinner dolphin twirls through the air like a spiraling football. It can jump almost 10 feet into the air and spin up to 7 times. Wow, that is interesting. Easy breather. A dolphin spends most of its life holding its breath. A reso dolphin can go for 30 minutes without coming up for air. Now let's look down here. Deep diver. What are we going to learn about the deep diver? Whales and dolphins are very close related. In fact, some animals are called whales, really are dolphins. The long fin pilot whale is a dolphin that can dive almost 2,000 feet. And that's really interesting because sometimes I find myself mixing up a whale and a dolphin. So I just learned that they are closely related. And I learned that through the captions. I'm going to move myself over. Now, we're going to read about this amazing dolphin, Orca. And we're only reading the captions because we read about it yesterday. Fastest, a killer whale, and another name for orca is killer whale. A killer whale can swim 7 times faster than an Olympic swimmer. Wow. Longest living, a killer whale can live up to 90 years. Amazing. Biggest, males can grow almost as long as a school bus. Whoever would have thought that? Hungriest, an orca eats everything from sea turtles and penguins to seals and sharks. Wow, I would not want to get in his way. Woo-hoo! So now we're going to read the caption on goofing off. Are we reading the whole text? No, just the caption. So here, playing catch. Toss seaweed into the air and try to catch it. Surfing. Riding along storm waves or waving, breaking near a beach. Or let me read that again. Surfing. Ride along storm waves or waves breaking near a beach. Tag, you're it. Chase each other through the water. So we just learned that dolphins like to play and have fun too. And we learned that by reading the captions. So, why do authors use labels and captions? Put on your thinking cap. Authors use labels and captions to tell important information about the illustration. Woohoo! So now, scholars, what I want you to do is I want you to get your book baggie. And I want you to look to see if you have a nonfiction book with labels and captions. I want you to pause this for 5 I want you to pause this and come back in 5 minutes. Go get your book baggie. Okay, you're back. Now, our teaching point. We're moving into writing because we're authors. And so we are going to write about our nonfiction uh, piece. And we wrote yesterday about you were experts on whatever you wanted to write about. So yesterday I chose to write about dolphins because I learned so much about dolphins yesterday. So today you're going to either add to that piece of writing or you're going to do a new piece. It is your choice. So, writing teaching point. I can write a nonfiction story and add captions or label to tell important information about the illustration. So, scholars, we went through the book Dolphins and we identified the labels and the captions, and we acquired more information by reading the captions and the labels. It told us more. So now you're pulling out your writing from yesterday, or you're starting a new piece of writing. And what you're going to add to your writing is captions and labels. Today, we will add captions or labels to our nonfiction writing. So I'm going to move myself right over here. Captions. This is an example of a caption, and this is an example of a label. So when you start writing, whether you're writing about dolphins or another topic, you want to make sure you add in your writing at least one label or one caption. So I'm going to move myself over up here. So I'm going to do a think aloud. Let me think of the captions or label I would like to add to my story. I wrote about dolphins yesterday. I'm going to add captions to my story. So now I wrote about dolphins and now I want to get specific. And I think I'm going to add captions about talking about the killer whale because I've learned with the killer whale that's the fastest, he eats the most, and that he lives very long. And that would give my readers who's reading my nonfiction writing more information. So now, scholars, it's your turn. Your turn. Think of the nonfiction story you want to write and add captions or labels to tell important information about the illustration. So I am so excited about you writing your nonfiction story and that you're going to add at least one caption and one label to make your story more interesting and to give details to your reader. So, writers, off you go. Have a great day.